I haven't done a video about Jussie Smollett in a while, but I just recently talked about him. And they, when I say they are determined, they are freaking determined to get this guy because they do not want to see him as the Negro that got away. They had to deal with all of that with OJ Simpson back in the day, and they don't want to do that again. They hate it. They hate it. They hate it. It literally burned them up when they said that there were no charges against him, or they weren't going to pursue any charges against him. And it was like, what? People were panicking and freaking out. Well, now fast forward to today, where it says the Chicago police have released 400 pages of case files in the investigation of Jussie Smollett. Now, they were talking about possibly doing it, but we didn't know whether they were going to or not. But it looks like they have. But 400 pages? Can you imagine what having to read all of that? And they have to read all of that. Let me go ahead and read this article. It says the Chicago Police Department released more than 400 pages of official documents from Empire actor Jussie Smollett's case on Thursday. The documents include case reports, arrest files, and supplementary files. The only new information released in Thursday documents are in the final pages, indicating that Chicago police knew weeks ahead of time that there was a deal in the works between Smollett and the Cook County State's Attorney Office led by Kim Foxx, who would later recused herself from the case. Now we know why she recused herself. They just put it out there right there. And then they have a link where you can access the files, but I'm not clicking on that. I'm not about to read all of that. When the charges were dropped March 26th, Chicago police and Mayor Rahm Emanuel were publicly shocked, stunned, and outraged. I don't know why Rahm Emanuel, as crooked as he was with the Laquan McDonald thing and God knows what else he's done, this should actually not be such of a shock to him. The newly released documents revealed that nearly a full month before charges were dropped on February 28th, the assistant state's attorney on the case told Chicago police detectives that she felt the case would be settled with Smollet paying the city of Chicago $10,000 in restitution and doing community service, which is exactly what happened. But see, they wanted more than that. They wanted him in jail. Even after the police continued to pursue evidence in the case up to the day the charges were dropped in March, what is not known whether the detectives who were told that a deal was in the works to cut Jussie free reported that up the chain of command and whether it made it to Superintendent Eddie Johnson and Mayor Emanuel. Police also have 69 hours of video in the case that could be released next week. According to officials, the final release will be pertinent video files that require a heavy amount of digital redaction that includes blurring of faces of individuals not included in the investigation and license plates of unrelated vehicles. Last week, a Cook County judge ordered police and prosecutors to unseal the documents in the case. The records were sealed in March, shortly after charges against Smollet were abruptly dropped by prosecutors. The Empire actor faced several charges allegedly staging a racist and homophobic attack on himself in January. The TV actor claimed he was the victim of a vicious hate crime in Streeterville neighborhood on January 29th. He said two men physically attacked him while yelling racist and homophobic slurs, threw a chemical liquid on him, and looped a rope around his neck. 2 days after the alleged attack, Chicago police released surveillance images of the two people that they said considered persons of interest in the attack. And I'm not going to go on to that because it's just basically rehashing everything that happened. We already know what that meant. He says all charges against him were dropped in late February in exchange for community service and forfeiture of his $10,000 bond payment. It says he has remained his innocence, and they talk about the brothers and so on and so forth. And that's pretty much the end of the article. But see, they didn't want just community service and $10,000 from him. They wanted him to go to jail. Meanwhile, how many of these white boys out here have done a whole lot worse, and they have given them probation, limited little bit of fines, or maybe no probation and just community service and a fine, or no fine and just community service, or none of the above. But they are coming after him because they say that he cost the city money for something he inflicted upon himself. Meanwhile, you have these palm-colored Neanderthals doing all this harm against other people, and they get this slap on the wrist. But aren't they still causing the city money? Yes. But it also goes back to, this is a black man that they felt got away. And that's why they're staying on top of it. And Rahm Emanuel isn't even the mayor anymore. But I do know he is a piece of shit. I do know that. And so is that superintendent Eddie Johnson with his off Carl Winslow looking ass. But I don't know what's going to come of this. I don't know if they'll be able to reopen the case because of this, because it's not saying whether they'll reopen it or not. But you know they're going to push for that. They want him in jail. It's unfortunate that Jussie Smollett put himself in this position, because now his life is forever changed because of it. And this is going to follow him to the day he dies. And they're always going to link him to being the guy that cried wolf, although we know who is notorious for that. But y'all let me know what you think about this down in the comments. Like, share, subscribe. I will talk to you in the next one.